Hi everyone, thank you for dialing into this tackle height load trial update for season 24-25. I'm Neil Graham and I'm joined by Craig McCann today. We're going to talk to you about the trials, the fact that they're continuing into season 24-25, and just giving some updates on where we are at with the research that's going on within the trials and looking at our focus areas for the season coming. So thank you for all your efforts this season within the tackle height low trials, and for those clubs and schools who've participated in the research programme. The research project is well underway with Edinburgh University, which is a World Rugby funded project. A lot of games in the community, club and school game, have been recorded and analysed. 35,000 plus tackles have been analysed, so a lot of data. And our students at the moment, Hamish and Hannah, are working tirelessly to analyse those games against a World Rugby framework, as well as all of the unions who are trialling this lower tackle height. We are hoping that the results will be in place come summer, which will be fantastic, and we'll share those at the earliest opportunity with you. Earlier this year, New Zealand announced their results from their trials, which are really positive. They found an overall reduction in tackle height, which is obviously a key aim of the study, and that's led to an overall reduction in head-to-head collisions, which again links to that concussion rate. So all very positive, and we're hoping that our results will show something similar, but we'll share that information ahead. So just look back at last season. As I said, thank you very much for all your efforts. There was a lot of work went in pre-season to get players to be getting into good body positions, coaches and match officials to absorb this information and look at the new laws. So we are very happy and thank you again for all the hard work in making it a relatively seamless transition into the law trial. We've definitely seen players visibly working harder to attempt to tackle lower. That's been an obvious improvement, certainly at the start of the season. As the season progressed, we naturally felt that there was a slight going back to old ways in some cases, where players maybe certainly at post-Christmas were starting to tackle a little bit higher again. So that's something we're going to concentrate on this season, just to get a season consistency throughout the whole league and cup programs. Referees did a fantastic job to adopt the decision-making framework, and Craig will move on to how we can continue to improve that moving forward into next season. So just some improvements, and Craig will come in a moment regarding refereeing. I think from players, it's that pre-tackle position that we really want players and therefore coaches to work on. So the image on the right-hand side is a really good example where the player in green, the tackler, is in that relatively upright position and has therefore made contact quite high up on the upper arm of the ball carrier. They're sharing similar head space, although there was no collision in this instance. But we really need to try and get better pre-tackle body positions and behaviours so that players are in a better position to make that below sternum tackle. The decision-making around the assistant tackler is a key area of our game. And we have situations where the assistant tackler is coming in and making a high shot, making a high tackle. So we need really players and coaches to work on the decision making about when to go for the ball, because they are allowed to rip the ball, and when to not engage in the tackle and possibly then get into a jackal position on the floor. So a couple of areas there for improvements, which link to areas for refereeing as well. But I'll hand over to Craig to give some pointers around referees. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Neil. Yeah, probably a very, particularly challenging area of the game to officiate, because there's a lot of subjectivity in there. But what we will be working with national panel officials and society officials. We'll be working with them pre-season to try and get them back to understanding where we want that first tackler. There'll be a real focus on reducing the primary tackler's height. That'll be the priority. We want to, if we see that as a success, if we see the tackle lowering in there, then that gives us much greater chance of changing player behaviour. We will be looking at how we manage that first arriving player. What is a what is a genuine attempt to rip the ball, as opposed to somebody that's, you know, slowing the ball down through something similar to an old choke tackle. So we'll be working on that. We want to try and be as consistent as we possibly can. We do need assistance from players, because we don't want to be in a position where in the first week of the season that we go out and we have to blow a significant number of penalties, because that will frustrate the whole game. So there is a massive buy-in from players and coaching teams here to lower tackle height, and then officials to then officiate to that tackle height. There will be guidance for those that are operating in the community game, so our community refs that are out refereeing youth rugby week in, week out. We will share the information that is used with our national panel and society officials. But yeah, so please, a buy-in from players and coaches to lower that tackle height. Just a reminder, this is the framework that we're working to. So again, we don't want any contact around the head and neck area. If that happens, then there is the extreme possibility that a red card will be issued. If you're in that area above sternum but below shoulder, then we'll be playing sometimes under advantage, sometimes there'll be an immediate penalty blown. We want as many tackles, especially the primary tackler, to be below the sternum. So we want that excellent body position, crouched, making shoulder contact in that area underneath the sternum, and that way the game will continue to flow and the referee will not need to intervene. But a reminder that tacklers can attempt to rip the ball, but if there's any contact, again, with the shoulder and upper arm, it becomes a tackle. So that'll be the advice that we'll be working with officials over the pre-season period. Just a reminder at the bottom as well, players can pick and go. So if they go into contact immediately, this law does not apply at that point. So if somebody's going low and driving into the player immediately in front of them, there will not be a high tackle awarded at that point.
Great, thanks, Craig. That's great. A few really good reminders there, and I guess just to kind of please, a bit of a wish list from us moving forward is really this focus on low tackle practice in sessions. I think pre-season is a great opportunity to revisit tackle technique and getting some really good behaviours in place for the season ahead. Little and often will make a real difference. You know, we have Premiership men and women's teams focusing really hard on focusing on individual tackle technique, working in ones, twos, threes, in a low intensity environment, building up to full match pace, and that can make a real difference to when it comes to the first game of the season. If you do need support in this area, if you feel that you would like some external influence with your players, or indeed as a coaching group, look at how you can coach the tackle area more effectively, please get in touch with us directly, or obviously go to your local referee society, who will be more than happy to try and organise support for you and your teams in and around training using referees in the local area. And certainly you can find referee society details on the website. So thank you very much for that. Look forward to seeing you next season. Please get in touch with us directly if you've got any questions, and please follow us on social media channels where we'll be providing updates throughout pre-season and into the start of August. Thanks very much.